Hello. Just trying to send my YouTube. Yeah. Hi guys. Hi. Welcome to Maths with a Enough. In today's class, this is just general discussion. Discussion between teacher and parents and also students. Yeah, if today is your first time, really I must say you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome to our live video. Just give me a second for a second. Welcome. This is Smart Situation Novel, and today we are just going live. This will be a general interaction between teachers and parents, most likely students. But the features mostly for this will be more of interaction, how to make our goal here is to know how to make maths fun, how to make maths relatable, how to make maths easy for students, for kids, especially the main kids in question here are kids below that are in nursery, primary level. That's the basics, primary and secondary level. Yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing we have to look at now. So, welcome once again. My name is Welcome once again. Today is our live section, and in this live section, it will concern is just an interaction that we need to have between parents and students. Okay, so if today is your first time, please do like, do share, comment your location because me currently now I'm in Abuja, Nigeria. Yeah, I'm in Abuja, Nigeria. Please comment your location. Let's connect. Let's connect. So my name basically is Esonofu Goodwill Somtochukwu. Yeah, but my Facebook name is Matt Esonofu. Okay, so today we'll be talking about an important concept. This particular concept is how to make maths. How can we make maths fun and relatable? Okay, we want to make it fun, easy, and relatable. Today we are not going to be solving, we don't have anything to solve, just to interact. Okay, so let's be honest here. You know that most students, let me not just say all, but most students do find mathematics hard or let's say difficult. Yeah, this is true. It is very, very true to say that. But the reason behind that, we have series of reasons behind this. Okay, ranging from the particular student himself, the teachers, and also the parents. Okay, these are the three category or the group of people that will be held responsible for this particular act. Okay, the first one, the first big reason why our kids or students fail mathematics is because of this poor foundation. Okay, poor foundation is one of the major reasons why kids fail maths. When I talk about poor foundation, I'm not talking about maybe building blocks like going to the side. No, the foundation I'm talking about is how we groom our kids from the nursery, from the primary, before they get to secondary and so on. Okay, these are the main thing we have to talk about. There is a very big poor foundation. Let's leave the government out of this. Let's just talk about parents, teachers, contribution. Okay, so poor foundation because most students don't understand the basics of mathematics. Most students, when they or hear the term mathematics, they just talk about numbers, some abstract stuffs, and things that a lot of things talk about abstract stuff, something that doesn't exist. Most of us that are watching this live, we might have been a victim of this. If you are a victim of that, let me know in the comments. Okay, so most of us are victims, or our kids, some of our kids are victim of this poor foundation. Okay? The poor foundation comes across in a situation where we don't understand the basics. All we know is multiplying numbers, doing this, doing this. What is the basis behind this multiplication? How does addition really works? We don't understand the basis. And this basis we are talking about is basically understood in the primary classes or in the nursery classes, where we use items, where we use things they hold, like sticks, like the maybe during in my own primary school days, we use more of pebbles, like stones, pebble stones, to add to, and also it helps us to multiply. Yeah, before, some parents can hardly afford the abacus then. So we basically use sticks, we use stones, and so on, just to know how to add two things together. So the main factor here is basically poor foundation. Most parents do ignore, maybe most parents don't like to enroll their kids in private sections, like private online classes, private tutorials. That's teachers coming to their home to teach their kids. They virtually see that as maybe waste of time, waste of money, waste of anything, waste of resources, and so on. But basically, if in my own experience, in based on what I've seen, I trust that I will easily enroll a kid in basic classes, nursery classes, uh, maybe JSS1 student in a private class, than even somebody that is an SS1, SS2 that is sitting for external examination. Once a kid can be able to pick that instinct, be able to understand it, understand the reason, how addition works, how subtraction works, how division works, the reason behind that, the kid cannot fail mathematics like that. There won't be a massive failure of that particular course, because the kid already have the needed background for he or she to understand the concept. So poor foundation is one of the major reasons for this failure of mathematics, phobia in doing mathematics, and so on. Another one is fear. 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 Some people, even without trying, they will tell you maths is hard. I don't want to do maths. Maths is this one, maths is that one. No, don't fear. Once you instill that fear in that kid, you don't know whether you are stopping the next Chikobi of the next of our time, or the next generation. You don't know whether you are stopping the next Pythagoras that will discover the next theory that will help, or the next mathematical law that will help the next generation or the current generation to achieve a desired goal. So let's stop that fear. Maths is hard. That's the general concept. But in our day-to-day activities, we are using maths. Okay, let's take for example a man that is, let's say, a man that is a businessman, for instance. Somebody that is once you tell him, let's say we say 30% of 50. You will say, I don't know it, oh, I don't know it, I don't know it, oh, my maths background is poor. No, but actually go to the man's business firm. They are actually sharing their profit and loss, or whatever, using percentages, which is also mathematics, because we don't have a billion naira, trillion naira or so. That's the main thing there. You're actually applying it every day. You will see guys, young guys, that are sharing their, maybe their commission or something, in percent. They will tell you, a joke when I with my percentage. Don't joke with my percentage. Don't joke with my share. Actually, you are talking about percentages, which is the basis of mathematics. Yeah, they will say, they will tell you to add something. Add 20 to 50. Some people will be, maths, I don't want to stress my brain. But tell him, I want to pay you 50,000 this week and pay you 20,000 next week. Almost the person is going to add it immediately and tell you in 2 weeks' time I'm making 70,000 naira. So what's the difference? So the problem is just the fear. The next one we have is just the teaching method. Yeah, some of us, most of us, me, others that are in the field. The problem we are having is the difficulty to make maths relatable. Some of us are generally teaching maths requires a lot of skills. Yeah. Most times teachers makes teaching and learning of mathematics more of abstract. And once it's abstract and kids can relate it to their day-to-day activities, it becomes boring. And once a subject or a course becomes boring, that means it is not, kids will not understand it very well. So take for example, you are talking about addition of fractions, for instance, for kids. 1/2 plus 2/3 is 1/2 plus 1/3. You just tell him the answer is 5/6. Well, relate it to what they have. Relate it to sharing cakes. Relate it to eating biscuits. Relate it to sharing apples. These are the things kids do in their day-to-day life. Once they get back home, their moms definitely, in most cases, definitely is going to share something. Maybe a loaf of bread, maybe an apple, maybe oranges or something. These are the things they share. Once you relate it, for instance, John, I'm going to give you half portion of this orange, and I'm going to give you 1/3 of this orange. If you have the total, what's the total oranges you're having? The boy is going to process the answer very fast, or faster than telling him or her to just do 1/2 plus 1/3 equals to this. No, it must be relatable. Once you make teaching and learning of any course, not just mathematics, relatable, you can see that students or kids is going to understand it. Remember, our goal today is just to understand or to know how to make mathematics fun and relatable. Okay? How to make teaching and learning of mathematics easy for kids to understand, and how teachers, not just teachers, even parents, okay, parents here have to play a very important role so that we can actually tackle the problem of poor performance of students in mathematics. Even if you keep watering the difficulty level of a particular exam body like WAEC, making it as simple as ABCD, it will get to a stage in senior WAEC, they will tell you 1 plus 3 is what? They will still fail it. The reason why they are failing it is because some of the topics, teachers don't make it relatable. Then let's go to parents. Parents, you need to, yes, you are doing well. The business you are into, your 9 to 5 jobs, and anything you do to earn living, most times is taking majority of your time. And most times you don't, at the little time you have left, you use it to rest. But there is a need, there is a very big need for us to do more as a parent. Okay, so we try to, once you are cooking, you do send your kids on an errand. Try to relate it, try to make that particular errand, maybe the kid that's in basic classes is going, or the elderly amongst your kids, to instruct the kids to make it relatable that this particular math, some word problem. That's why in mathematics we have sections for word problems. Okay, word problems is just trying to relate that particular problem you're solving to a real life. Okay, so if you have any question, if you have anything to say, drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like and share for more. Okay, so the first way to tackle this particular issue in math is first to make it relatable. Okay, then, yes, how can we make maths fun and easy? First method is to bring maths to our everyday life. I've said something like that. Okay, Let's take for instance, you gave your daughter, this is 1,000 naira note, 1,000 naira note, to get a bottle of Coke for you, for instance. A bottle of Coke in an average Nigerian market, a bottle of Coke is sold for like 500 naira. So once the kid takes that small kid that maybe is in primary two or three, takes this to the nearest shop to buy a drink, paying 1,000, the person is going to give him a change or balance of 500 naira. That particular incident is also mass taking place. It's mass taking place. No two ways about it. It's mass taking place because this is actually what we call subtraction. The kid is actually performing what? Subtraction. And subtraction is amongst the main pillars of mathematics. Subtraction is amongst the main pillar of mathematics because if you check the basic arithmetic, the basic order of operation, subtraction is there. We have board maths, which is bracket, order, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Once your kid in the basic classes can be able to understand this particular order of operation, the kid is making a good way up and probably is going to be a good mathematician. Okay, so try to make it something that the kid can be able to see. That this particular role goes to the parents. Okay, so for instance, in your cooking, yeah, parents, maybe I remember those times we are kids, we are still small. Our mom would take, we usually follow our mom to the kitchen. Okay, for instance, measuring. Yeah, some will tell you measure a cup of, maybe measure something like give me half cup of, maybe half cup of rice. What are you talking about? You're actually talking about fractions. Okay? Half. You're talking about half of a whole. And in maths, sorry, we define fraction as part of a whole. So half is just a portion of a whole. So you are talking about fractions. Okay? So and fraction is one of the core pillars or the pillars of what? Mathematics. The next one is when you are mixing. Okay, I'm not good at mixing cake, but most times parents do, maybe especially in the female gender, they will take something like take their daughter to the kitchen maybe to make a cake. Yes, now to prepare a cake. Some will say something like this: give me something like half cup of sugar, mix it with two-third portion of what? A flour. What are you actually doing? You are actually doing what? Fractions. Because you are trying to add two things together. And that two things, you represented it as what? A fraction. So in that way, you are making the mass relatable. So once that kid goes to school and on getting to the school, he saw 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. He can relate that 1 over 2 and 1 over 3 in terms of what? Fraction. And once he or she understands it to that extent, that person is going to what? Make it very well in that particular field. So it's very important to relate it to that particular kid. And as a parent, once you're able to do that, that particular kid will now understand that concept in depth. So that even in advanced level, when we are learning about abstract mathematics on its own, the kid is going to what? Excel very, very well, notwithstanding. Then again, let's say doubling. Let's say you are cooking, you added 1 cube of Maggi to your soup, and you notice that you do not get a satisfying taste for that particular addition you did. You know, once you don't get, you can tell the kid add another one. Once you're adding another one, add another one. You are still doing the same addition. Let's say you told the kids we need 5 cubes. You are multiplying, you are bringing it, because multiplication is just like repeated addition. You are bringing it in 5 folds. So you're actually doing what? Multiplication. And as you can see that the kid will now understand it. Let's say you are teaching a maybe a primary one student mathematics, how to add two numbers together. How is the kid going to understand it? Bring three stones representing three numbers. Bring two stones representing two numbers, just like this now. You are trying to tell a kid to know how to add two and three together. Once you're able to get this is, we have two here. This is two. And you have this one. This is what? I have it as three in my hands. Three, as you can see. Three. So, and once you are doing addition, you are putting all of them together in one particular place. Okay? Since you are putting all of them together in a particular place, you have to count all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. This shows the kid that 2 plus 3 is what? 5. It helps in what? Addition. At that point, you are trying to relate that particular topic to that particular kid. And once the kids understand it like this, the kid is going to excel. So the problem of addition will be solved for the kid. How to multiply? You relate to the kid that multiplication is just like repeated addition. Let's say 2 times 3. You are bringing 2. You are getting 2 in 3 folds. 2, 1 group, 2, 1 group, 2, 1 group, 2. We are having it to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 times 3 is what? 6. Some will try to relate it like using a poem. Okay? 2 times 1, 2, 2 times. All those things you are trying to relate it to the kid so that the kid will not see that particular topic as abstract. He or she will understand that that particular topic he or she is looking at is something that he or she is doing every day in real life, not just something abstract like simple memorization. Another one is trying to memorize formulas. Okay, for instance, I want to make a banana bread, and the recipe that can be able to do that is one third cup of milk and 2/3 cup of water. Okay, so you can now see that once the kids know that here we are talking about milk and we are talking about water, he or she is going to know how to add it, because virtually the mom is doing that at home, the dad is also doing that. So you can see that these particular topics are now relatable. They can now understand that this particular topic is what they are doing in their everyday life, not something that falls from the sky. Okay, so multiplying numbers. Let's say, for instance, if one cookie is used, if one cookie uses quarter cup of sugar, how much sugar do we need for 3 cookies? You are multiplying. One cookie, you want to make something like biscuits, for instance, you use a quarter cup of sugar. Then what if you want to make 5? You will multiply you are trying to know the number of sugars you are going to use. That means you are going to multiply it, because virtually if the kid goes back at home, the mom is going to do something like that. So that particular topic is now relatable, and the kids can relate it to activities they are doing at home. Let's say counting. Don't stop telling kids to do 2 times 1, 2, 2 times. How can they relate it? Try to let them know that why 2 times 5 is 10 is that you are bringing 2 in 5 places. And if you bring 2 in 5 places, you are getting 10. So some kids can be fast learners, some will be a slow learner. But once you tell him 2 times 5, he will try to look around, pick out 2 strokes, pick out counting digits, maybe stones, depending on the location you are living in. Bring out stones, bring out pebbles, some make use of abacus, and so on. You get, once that kids understand this basic concept, the kid is going to excel in anything called mathematics. It is typically impossible for them not to excel, because this is the bedrock of that particular topic, okay, of mathematics. Once your kid can be able in that basic age understand like 70% of the basic operation, how it works. Believe me, you the kid will be a math guru in future. It's inevitable. Know how to use brackets, how they treat brackets, how to multiply, how to add, how to subtract, how to divide, how to square. Your kids is getting it right. I must tell you. But once your kid misses out in this, that's where the problems comes in, because he or she will be struggling with mathematics day in, day out. So there is a very big need for kids to understand and know the basics of mathematics. Once your kids knows the basics of mathematics, you can see that the kid is going to, or the student is going to excel very well. The next one on our list is to use visual. Sorry, I don't have any visual thing, but once teaching and learning of mathematics to go to get to a very high level, there is a very big need for visuals. Like some of the videos you have to watch, they will try to relate it. Apple, half, they will divide apple into two, multiplying, they will bring it in three places in lots of portions. Once that particular topic in that basic level is done that way, the kid is going to relate it. That's why if you are a teacher, you will see that when you are the type of teacher that tries to incorporate this method in teaching and learning, you are going to see that in an external in any examination, maybe class exam or external exam, you see that if you turn the script of the kid you are marking the papers, you are going to notice one thing, that the kid will be trying to be drawing all those shapes at the back so that they will count. You might think, this boy is wasting time. No, allow the kid to understand it that way first. Once they go as advanced level, you can see that the importance of that particular understanding, because he's trying to relate it. Once a bird flies, you can be able to relate it. Then, okay, let's take it for instance. He or she learns how to apply it, like counting or so. Once a bird flies, once it gets to maybe senior secondary, once a bird flies from a tree, maybe flies down to bed or to eat something downstairs, the kid will now relate it to, once they are teaching them something like uh, um, something like trigonometry, okay, arithmetic progression and all this. All those things helps them. Like in that counting, it helps them. Oh, 2 times 1 is 2. This is progressing. This is order. It will not subconsciously, that particular concept he learned maybe many years ago is now playing a very good role in his or her own life at that moment. So once the kids try to relate it, daddy, once you are driving or taking them to a shopping mall, try to show them one apple costs 3 naira, five apple is costing 3 times 5 naira. At that point you are teaching him or her maths. At least you might say, you don't have basis of math, but once you try, the little you have percentage, you don't know percentage, I don't know math, I don't know math. But in the organization you are, once you go to get a bank loan for you, they will tell you that this particular amount you are trying to take has 15% interest rate per annum. At that In that particular city, you tell them the exact amount. So what are you doing? You're actually doing math. So it's not something that math is not something that's maybe out there, impossible to do, or very hard to do, or something like that. It's something relatable. And once you make it relatable, kids are going to pass it more than they do in other subjects. Because in mathematics, you don't need to memorize. Then another one I that just come to my mind is, most people or teachers try to make students to memorize formulas. How many maths formulas are you going to memorize? How many? The goal there is for you first to understand the build up in football that everybody is concerned. Every coach plays from a build up. So how does this particular formula operate? How do they get it? How can I get it? How should I get it? It's not about getting quadratic equation formula as x is equals to minus b plus or minus blah, 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 blah. Then you are done with quadratic. And you are trying to know inside that quadratic, you are trying to know the nature of the root. The nature of the root is square root of this, square root of this, through have real solution, no real root, single root. You are done. Then trying to draw the curve. When this one touches the curve, it is when this one, no. Just know how the build up is. Once you know how the build up is, it will be very easy for you to do. Once you know how they derive all those things, just take your time. For each scheme of work, I trust the schooling body, they have a design way to get it. So for each, you learn the meaning. Don't just leave. Piam! Quadratic equation is this. Once you're done with quadratic equation, this. Instead of learning how to solve by factorization, you rush graphical method. No. Once you do it that way, this is a recipe for failure. Then your kid is in another one. I noticed that some parents, their kids will be in primary two, for instance. They will be teaching them something for primary six. My kids, no. Those things are those things are just maybe like you are just jam packing two things together. Allow the kid to move slowly, and they will definitely get where they are going and understand the concept very, very well. So once you make it that way, it will be easy for the kid to excel. The goal here is to excel, not just to be the best in maths. You can be the best in maths in school A, but generally in your location, you are the last and nothing changed. So we should stop the promoting this memorizing formula trick. It doesn't work. Let's say you go to arithmetic progression to get T of n. T of n is a plus blah, 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 n plus 1 plus d. Blah, 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 blah. You're just rushing it. How many formulas can you memorize? Just go to shapes. Now, area of a circle, perimeter of a circle, area of triangle, perimeter of triangle, area of this, square, how many will you memorize? But once you understand how the shapes looks like, once you look at it, solve multiple questions on it. Once you look at it and solve multiple questions on it, definitely you are going to answer any question that comes from it. Understand how the shapes is derived, understand how to solve questions on it, and leave it. Once you get to examination hall, you are going to understand it very well. To recall will be easy. You are not just memorizing your biology. Osmosis is this one going for upper limit. No, we don't do it here. Once you do it in maths, let's say you are having fever, everything will vanish. And once everything vanishes, you are empty. And at that point, you are going to fail. No need. Yeah, that's the only thing. Because once you are not getting it that way, you are not getting it. Stop memorizing the formula. Leave the formula there. Understand how it works. Use the formula in various occasions to solve problems. Advanced problems, simple problems, medium problems, and so on. Once you are using that particular formula to do that, you are going to understand it way much easier than before. So once you are doing that, you are trying to understand the concept very well, not just at a shallow level. Solve questions, solve simple questions, start with simple. How can you be studying something like studying like arithmetic progression? Arithmetic progression is common term A, common difference D, common first term A, and number of term n. You left it and moved to you left it immediately and you went to problems like solving for the sum of AP. Sum of AP is n plus 1 plus this. No, it's not done that way. If you do it that way, you are going to fail. No need. No need of even trying. You are going to fail. So once you understand, this is how AP is working. First term should be this. Try it in real life. Know how the sequence works. Look at Fibonacci sequences. Look at how all these things work. Look at how they operate. Once you understand it in that method, it will be very easy for you. So you don't need to be worrying yourself to memorize the formula. The first term is called the A. The difference between the first term and the second term shows you the difference. And the number of terms the examiner wants you to find is known as the N. So once you have, they give you a series like 3, 5, 7, and so on. You've already known that, and they told you to find the 210. You've already known that the first term is the 3. So the first term becomes 3. Then what are they trying to do? They are trying to find the build-up. First term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term to the 20th term they told you to do. So that shows you that for each term, you understand how the build-ups works. And once you know the build-ups, you are going to pass. So you don't need to memorize that Tn is equals to A plus N minus 1G. That becomes irrelevant. Like you trying to cram it. Once you know the order, even without the formula, at least you can get it. Know how it works, look at the build-up, and know how things work. Okay, volume, how many formulas will you memorize? Go to statistical mathematics. How many formulas? Some, if you try to know about the something like you're trying to know about the mean now. In primary school, they told you that the mean is summation of fx over, okay, summation of xn over n, the number where x can be all the series of the numbers and n can be the how many numbers in question. So you can know that this is the sum in your primary school. But once you are getting advanced, where you are trying to know the difference between, you are trying to solve when we have classes and boundaries. You get upper limit, lower class, all these things. The sum change, but once you understand the concept of it, you can be able to do it. And once you have like series of frequencies occurring, once okay, let's say they gave you find the mean of 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 8, 9, 13 now, for instance, and you memorize the formula, summation of f and you went to the exam office to do that. That particular question is coming in this form. Scores of a student 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Their frequency 17, 34, 36, 21, 22. At that point, if you memorize that summation of xn over summation of x, summation of n, if at that point you will become confused. The reason why the particular formula can even, if you understand the concept in depth, that particular formula can even help you. Yes, it can solve it. Once you try to spread it one after the other, 15 occurred 5 times, you write it 15, 15, 15, and so on. But once you memorize it in that particular manner, you're going to fail it because at that point you don't know what to do. You don't have the list of the numbers up there. And since you don't have the list of the numbers up there as usual, you don't know how to use the formula. It boils down for you to use summation of f of x divided by summation of f. But once you understand the meaning of that mean, what do we mean by mean in statistics, for instance? Once you understand the meaning of mean, for instance, it will be easy for you. If it's seen as the average, what is an average? How does it occur? We are trying to take all the total set of the scores divided by the number of people that sat for that. Total scores in the exam divided by the number of people that sat for the exam. In that note, you know the meaning, you know how it works. Even though you don't state the formula, you can be able to do it slowly. And once you do it slowly, you can lose the mark. You can be, if you get the answer right, sorry, the examiner can give you something. The examiner can give you something like 75% of the score because you actually failed to state the formula. That's how everything works. So once you are able to understand the main meaning behind each topic, you are going to get it really, really well. It's very, there's no two ways about it. You don't memorize, you don't need, just do your thing. You don't need to memorize. It's very, very easy and simple to understand. Once you stop memorizing in maths, you will get it. Relate it. Area of a circle, perimeter of a circle, relate it to real life, and you will definitely understand the concept. There's no two ways about it. is very, very easy to understand. So far, you can be able to relate that particular problem to real life situations. And for every mathematics in that basic period is related. Don't just see bearing as tan theta, cos theta, secant theta, 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 theta. Once you try to memorize all those things in your head, you are going to have problems. And that's a recipe for failure, which you don't want to do. And you don't want your kids to. Relate it. Tan theta, cos theta, how do they operate? How can I know? Okay, let's say you memorize tan theta is opposite of adjacent cos theta. But once you use poems like Sokatua, Sokatua, once you have Sokatua, is something, at least if you are talking relating it to a male kid, you can see that that particular kid will understand the Tua. He will relate it to football. Soccer, relate it to football. At that point, the kid will not forget it easily. Telling him that T in that Tua is standing for tan, opposite, adjacent. Telling him about the sine, telling him about the cosine, telling him about the, and so on. And telling him that secant, cosecant, and cotangent are just the reciprocal of each of those respective forms. At that point, the kid will forget. But once the kid tries to memorize it like cramming a journal, the kid is going to fail. No two ways about it. But how many solving simultaneous equation? We have like basically we have like elimination, substitution, graphical, and so on. You just told it that simultaneous equation is solving more than one equation at the same time. You left it immediately. Phew, you rushed. Let me know how to do graph. At least I know how to draw quadratic graph in my nursery one, in my year six. Once you do it that way, you will understand it. Start with elimination. Know once you are trying to know, you say elimination, know actually what do we mean that in a simple competition you do at home. What does it mean? What does it mean to eliminate somebody? How can you eliminate somebody? It's removal. So here, related to that equation, 2x plus 3y, 4 plus this are equals to this. Relate it. Let me eliminate, let me remove. You see that once the kid understand it that way, the kid is going to excel. So the kids will now find a way or method to eliminate or to remove one of the variables. At that point, the kid is getting it very, very well. So that's how we actually understand each term in mathematics. Remember, drop in the comment section where you are watching us from. Let's know where you're watching. Let's know where you're watching. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I understand. Thank you so much. Thank you. I understand. Thank you. Please like and share, like and share, like and share, like and share so that other people comment your thoughts. Comment. You can also write the method. You can also write your own approach or the own method you think that doing mathematics or taking mathematics will be very effective. Just drop in the comments your thoughts about how to improve the learning of the subject mathematics. Drop it in the comments. Let's see. So this is it. Don't memorize the formula. If you memorize the formula like cramming, when I say memorize, I mean cramming. I'm not talking about like understanding it. You need to understand the concept. You need to understand the formula. But trying to memorize it is a recipe for failure. So you don't need to fail and you don't want to fail. Okay? So first you must understand the concept. Once you understand the concept, you are good to go. So in teaching and learning of mathematics, we first of all understand the concept. And once you understand the concept, it will be easy for you to navigate other topics. Don't just skip. Don't say, I've known this. If you learn like elimination method, solve various examples. Solve when the coefficient of the eliminating variables are the same. Solve when the coefficient of eliminating variables are different. Try different method, try different approach, solve a lot of example, solve a lot before you move to the next one, which is substitution. Once you understand substitution method, substitution, just Take it if it is a boy that the dad is taking to maybe a viewing center or they are watching football at home, relate that football to him in a real way. Once you relate that football to him or her in a real way, he will understand. They are substituting Ronaldo for Sadio Mane. What are they doing? They are actually what? Replacing. And once you are doing substitution or you are trying to replace it, you are taking one thing out in place of other. Once you are taking something out in place of other, you are substituting, right? That's an English term. So once that one is like that, you are substituting. Apply it in that particular simultaneous equation you are teaching them. You are trying to make one the subject. After making one the subject, you are going to put it back in the corresponding equation. At that point, you are doing what? You are substituting. You are trying to substitute for one variable or for one term. At that point, you find the value of the missing term. So that's the main essence of that particular problem. So once you understand maths that way, you are going to excel. So once you make maths relatable, make it fun. Also, teach them tricks how to solve objective. It mustn't be 50 times. When you tell somebody now, multiply like 20 by 50, the person becomes confused. But what if I tell you if you want to multiply any number by 50, all you have to do is divide the number by 2. 20 by 2 is 10. Add two zeros. The reason why, if you add two zeros at the back, you're having 10. You're having 10. If you add two zeros at the back, it's running at 1,000. The reason why it works is that uh, 50 is halfway to 100. Are you getting it? 50 is halfway to 100. So all you have to do to that number is to divide by 2 and multiply by 100. And when you're multiplying by 100, you're adding the two zeros. That's why the two zeros comes in. And once you divide 100 by 2, you are still getting 50. So if you tell anybody to multiply any number by 50, multiply 26 by 50. Half of 26 is 13. 13, I add two zeros, 1,003. Very easy. The person don't need to write on the board 50, under it 13, 0 times 5 is this, 0 times this is this, 1 times this is this. No, it doesn't work that way again. You have told the person the shortcut to do that. How can you square any number that ends with 5 without making use of the calculator? Squaring it offhand. These are the shortcuts. It makes maths interesting. Let's say you are teaching a JS2 kid how the squares and square root, for instance. First term is square and square root, I think. Yeah. Let's say you are teaching a kid how to do that. And you get to a point you are trying to square 25, for instance. Tell the kid once any number ends with 5, all you have to do is you know the basics that 5 squared is 25. Then what's the next corresponding number after 5? The next corresponding number after 1 is 2 because we are after 2 is 3. So multiply 2 and 3 gives 6. Bring it closer to the 25. You have 625. And that becomes the answer without stressing the brain. Check another number, 35 squared. Once you have numbers like 35 squared, the last square is 25, right? Then 3, after 3, you have 4. After 4, you have 5. So 35 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 12, and once you have 12 and 25, you have 1,225. That's easy. And at that point, you are just saving time and getting the answer right. So there is need for proper understanding of concepts. Once you understand the concept, it will be very easy for you. On this, thank you for being in my life. Uh, we should end it now so I can go do the next thing. Thank you for showing up. Bye. Bye. Bye.